Okay, hello YouTube and welcome again to another video. So I actually uploaded my last videos and they got a decent amount of views. I got some comments, and I love interacting with people. I love history. That's a genuine interest of mine. I also love getting high. So, and I also love like audio visual editing videos using my green screen. I love all that. So this is a genuine passion for me. So please, hey, help your boy out, give it a subscribe. Give it a like, give it a share, or go to my Skillshare class where you can actually learn from me how to do affiliate marketing and make some money. So you help me, I help you. I uploaded World War II, so my timing was a little bit wrong on this one, but now I'm gonna watch World War I. So I have no idea. I do have a idea about this. You don't learn much from school when it comes to the First World War, so it's gonna be definitely hella interesting. And without further ado, yeah, let's just go.
The world of 1914, a time of modern technology, culture, and fashion. Truly the height of civilization. Let's have a war. Everyone knew a big war was coming. France wanted some stuff back that Germany had taken from it. Germany wanted to take more of everyone's stuff, and they were building a big sexy navy that was making the British uncomfortable. These two empires thought they were really cool, but lots of different people who lived there didn't think it was so cool. And some of them had even been declaring independence with help from Russia. Everyone was talking about each other behind each other's backs, throwing the fact that military technology had come a long way since the last major war, and suddenly everyone was pretty eager to beat each other up. In this area of Austria-Hungary lived some Serbs and Bosnians who hated living in Austria-Hungary. So the Austro-Hungarian Archduke Franz Ferdinand goes there for a nice drive in an open-top car with his car's route published in advance. And that went just about as well as you'd expect.
He got JFK.
Some assassins were waiting for him along the way and threw bombs at his car, but they missed and blew up some officers behind him instead. So the Archduke goes into hiding, leaves Sarajevo, and the whole war never happens. Except no, the Archduke doesn't leave, but instead goes back out in the open-top car to visit the injured officers in hospital. The driver takes a wrong turn and by sheer coincidence gets stuck beside one of the failed assassins, who shoots him. Austria-Hungary is understandably pissed about all this, and they think the Serbian government had something to do with it, which they might have. So they go to their ally Germany and say, hey Germany, we're going to declare war on Serbia, and Germany is all for that. So Austria-Hungary send a big list of impossible demands to Serbia, and when Serbia refuses, they declare war. Austria-Hungary and Germany are friends, and Serbia is protected by Russia, who's friends with France, so they all declare war on each other. Montenegro joins in too. France and Britain also have a kind of alliance, so when France says,
of course,
hey, Britain,
kind of.
you got my back, Britain is like,
historical frenemies.
And then they decide to stay out of it, which is great for Germany because Germany has a plan. They know that Russia is so big and clumsy that it will take them a while to get ready for war. So with this guy in charge, Germany will send all its troops into France at lightning speed while Russia's getting ready, defeat France, then move all the troops to Russia and defeat Russia, and then we all speak German and eat Pfefferpotast every day.
What?
Move all the troops to Russia and defeat Russia, and then we all speak German and eat
Pfefferpotast. What the hell is that? I mean, these are probably pickles. This is some probably cream cheese like. I have no idea what the hell this is. I mean, it looks just too red to be meat. This is probably the protein of the dish. This is, I have no idea. If you're German and you're watching this, tell me if this is a real thing. It's probably, I mean, it's a real thing, but is it good?
Potast every day. Just one problem. France has loads of forts and defenses along its German border, and Germany can't waste any time fighting them, so Germany decides to go around them through Belgium. Belgium is neutral, but Germany wants to march 750,000 troops through it to get around France's defenses. They're hoping Belgium will just kind of sit down and shut up, but they don't. They fight back.
Heck yeah, Belgium.
Too, so they slow the Germans down. What's worse is that Britain shows up, and they're pretty pissed that Germany's invading neutral countries. So now Britain declares war on Germany. So Germany push on through Belgium and commit some atrocities along the way. They also wear spikes and sometimes skulls on their uniform. So if you're trying to not look like the bad guys, good job. The Allies have a propaganda extravaganza, and this starts having an influence around the world, notably in America. The U.S. President Woodrow
Oh,
Wilson sees himself as a bit
say
of a Jesus
can
figure
you
and spends most
see?
of the war trying to get
Wasn't
everyone to
Woodrow
just hug
Wilson
it
a
out.
terrible
But there's also a
president?
large population of ethnic Germans living in the United
I don't know.
States, and when the war first broke out, they were like, "Yay, Germany!" But now that they're committing atrocities in Belgium, they're less enthusiastic. Let's play Spot the French Soldier. Did
Oh,
you
there
see
he is.
him? Easy, right? He's wearing a bright blue uniform with red trousers. And do you know who else spotted him easily too?
The Germans?
The Germans. So when the French were slowly marching in columns through the countryside, the Germans easily tore them to shreds
Oh,
with their
no.
giant guns. All the nations involved in
Okay, let's see this. War is an adventure. It's not. Bayonet charges are cool. Bayonet, that's really old school. Of course, they're not cool. Cavalry is really effective, depending on how you look at it. Dying for your country is awesome. That's definitely not true at all.
this war went in with an old school war mentality, and all of them had to update their uniforms and tactics.
None of them had helmet. The Serbian uniform had no boots, and of course the red trousers from France. Yep, that's pretty eye-catching, I must say.
A lot during the Great War. Because this war was going to be like nothing anyone had ever seen before. Russia's ready for war, and way earlier than expected. Hey, Austria-Hungary, can you get on top of that? Oh yeah, sure, we've got this. Nope.
Someone on my previous video, if you didn't watch the World War II part, definitely go check it out, told me, and this is totally true, that Austria-Hungary was a global powerhouse, but, you know, because of the war, how it ends, which, spoiler alert, doesn't end well for them, they were a very tiny country and very insignificant country, or at least they were struggling. So that's why they joined Hitler, or a good portion of Austrians wanted to join Hitler or join Germany and have some sort of reunified German state. So that's why, because in my previous video, I said that I didn't know why they did it. Now I know. Thank you for the person who commented. I appreciate y'all comments.
So Germany has to send some troops back to the east to defend against the Russians. The chief of staff of the Austro-Hungarian army is this guy, and although he is handsome, he turns out not to be
He's
the
kinda
best military
handsome.
strategist. Austria-Hungary constantly ignores Germany's advice,
About I
and then
don't.
comes running back to Germany whenever they get in trouble.
Send help.
Austria-Hungary even gets its ass kicked by tiny Serbia, who
Wow.
repels all their invasion attempts at the start of the war. It's better news for Germany.
Good for you, Serbia. That's badass. Even though your uniform doesn't have
Back on the Western Front,
boots.
the Germans continue advancing and are in sight of Paris. At this point, anyone would be forgiven for thinking the Germans were going to get that quick victory after all. But then things start to go wrong. The French commander-in-chief knew something had to be done, and he ordered his armies to stop retreating. In the resulting battle, a gap opened up in the German lines. If a gap opens up, the enemy can use it to flank you from the side and behind, so the German armies have to retreat. The Allies launch a counterattack, so the Germans dig into defensive positions. The
Oh,
Allies
of
do
course. Yeah. I remember back in school, the only thing like they taught us about World War One was that the trenches, and it was brutal. Honestly, I mean, he's probably gonna
same.
talk
Then
about
both sides
that.
move north, trying to outflank each other along the way. When they reach the sea, they're in a stalemate with trench systems running the whole way from the coast to Switzerland, the beginning of trench warfare on the Western Front. Here's how trench warfare works. Two opposing lines of trenches with no man's land in between. One side would pummel the other with hundreds of thousands of artillery shells, sometimes for days at a time. This had a huge psychological effect on
My God, look at my dude right here, and he's just out. What kind of what kind of drugs did you take, bro? Don't do drugs. Don't do drugs. What the heck did they sold you? Give me some. No. But in all seriousness, just brutal. I mean, look at them. They're all messed up. I mean, this could be someone's grandpa, if you think about it. I mean, maybe some like great grandchildren of these guys are still living today. It's just crazy to think. It's crazy to think that probably most of these are no longer with us. Or most of them.
on the soldiers, leaving many shell-shocked. Then, the attacking troops would leave their trenches and rush across no man's land, a muddy wet mass of shell craters and barbed wire. The defending trench would unleash machine gun fire on the attackers, inflicting thousands of casualties. The attackers would send wave after...
So it's basically like Japanese banzai attacks. Literally launching yourself to the enemy. Just brutal. And I imagine nobody picked up the corpse. So, gosh, harsh. Sometimes a lot of people tend to think about the Second World War as the brutal, and it was. But this was also pretty big, especially at that time.
After wave, until either they gave up or the opposing trench was finally overrun. There would be months of fighting and the deaths of thousands in order to gain a few meters or kilometers of land. Living in the trenches was hard work too. Corpses, mud that could swallow you whole, pools of poisonous water, rats, disease.
The smell, dude, yeah.
It's insane that millions of soldiers put up with these conditions, and commanders ordered them to do so for years.
Was that it? Wow, that was quick. That was pretty good. Actually, pretty good. Check OverSimplified channel. We're gonna do part 2 eventually. Well, I'm gonna do it right now. Let's look at some other comments. Watching OverSimplified's first video. There's a tax for that. Okay, so like, who wants him to be your history teacher? Definitely me. This man taught me more in 6 minutes than all my life in school. Thanks, American school system. School, you can't use Wikipedia. Me, laughs in OverSimplified. But OverSimplified. Austria-Hungary didn't declare war on Serbia. The Vikings did. This was the beginning of a legend. Everyone, let's kick each other's butt. Spain, just vibing, okay? That's true though. Don't worry, I'll let the armies myself. If you're a leader of a country, always have a top on your car, yeah. Germany, tell me a joke. Allies, the victory. Germany, I didn't get it exactly. Oh, shoot. Axis, tell me a joke. Allies, the victory. Axis, I didn't get it exactly. Yes, again. Oh, shoot. Don't like you watched this more than once. Poor Germany just has the worst friends every time. Austria, Hungary, Italy, etc. That's true though. That's true. Everyone, Austria lives with its mom. Germany, but it's Harry. I hear Russia. What? Okay, so let's just go to part 2. Okay, if you like this video, again, share it, give it a like, at least give your boy a subscribe, and I'll see you right now.